Hi, welcome back to the shop. Today we'll go over my lathe milling machine stand. This started off life as a Grizzly Golf 0769er combo machine. I have made a lot of modifications to it. I've got a whole playlist of tuning and improvements that are tuning anyway that I've done to this machine, and I keep adding. So, I kind of give you a tour of my stand here. That's kind of, I'm doing shop tour videos. I thought, well, we'll go over this thing. This stand, I built this back this winter. This machine's pretty new to me. Again, like I said in one of my other videos, this is fine work. I want it up where I can see it. So, this is halfway pretty much between my wrist and my elbow for the tabletop height, and then that brings the lathe and the mill table up about the bottom of my rib cage, and that's a very comfortable working height for me. So the top of this thing is made, there are 2 layers of 2x12 sandwiched together with opposing grain structure, and same as the bottom. The bottom of this is 2 layers of 2x12 with opposing grain, and then glued and screwed together to make a solid surface. Then a piece of sheet metal on the top, lathe and mill is bolted down to it. Pretty simple, pretty everyday stuff there. These feet, I did a video on these feet, pretty simple. These leveling legs are just let in to the structure here. The sides are just, I think this is this is AC birch plywood. And these angle iron, pieces of angle iron are just let in, and then it's screwed into there. And these leveling legs are just leveling legs that I built here in the shop. There are casters underneath of this. If I decide that I need to move it somewhere else, I can just lift the leveling legs and roll it around on the casters after I clean out all the filth and corruption that's accumulated underneath of it. But this is, I would call it semi-portable. So let's go through some of the drawers. Now these drawers are not full extension drawers. There is a dead space. The last 8 inches is dead space back here. And that gives you a pretty substantial working area of your drawer. And where I set this in the shop in relation to my front bench was to where I can open this drawer basically fully open or fairly open and still get to everything with my butt right here against the bench. Now the drawers are 32, 33 inches on the inside and 22 inches deep. The stand itself, the top, is 39 by 35 inches. And that was about as much space as I could dedicate for this particular thing in my shop without having to rearrange a whole bunch of stuff and make things harder. So this top drawer, that's just cutting tools and basically junk. Second drawer, wrenches, screwdrivers, T-handles. I'm going to get a dedicated set of screwdrivers for this, just different stuff for that. Measuring precision equipment, mics, well my mics are in the bottom drawer, but just some more tooling, some setup blocks, stuff like that in that drawer. Oh, a Chinese precision level, gotta have one of those. I know those words should never be used in the same sentence. I got my Strong's Concordance here, 18th edition, Machinery's Handbook. More books, some grinding wheels, just more junk. This is, that drawer's a little bit thick. Change gears, extra spacers for my spacers here. Clamping stuff, change gears, extra 1/4" nuts. There's some T-nuts that I made, some little clamps. Boring box stuff, collets. This thing's Morse taper 2 in the mill and Morse taper 3 in the headstock. So I've got various collets, some milling cutters, just arbors that I've made, stuff like that in this drawer. And the bottom drawer is my cheap mic set, some old pieces, tailstock, compound sets in that spot there, 4-jaw chuck, the other set of 3-jaw chuck jaws, some extra nuts. I made a video about making these captive washer nuts, various stuff like that. But basically, all of my stuff is self-contained. All my lathe and mill machine stuff is self-contained in here. So you're looking kind of across the top of the lathe to the back side of my mill. This is my DRO set up. I've got it repaired now. I yanked one of the wires out of a slide, or out of a reader. Made a video about that. I think it was Tango Uniform Linear Encoder. But that's kind of the back view of it. I try to zip tie and cable things up as good as I can. This column is the column that came off of the G0769 Grizzly machine. It's pretty flimsy. I mean, it's cast iron, but it's only like 4 inches by 1 3/4 inches thick. So it is not the most rigid thing in the whole wide world, but it serves my purposes. So I'm going to spin around to the other side of this and we'll look at it from the other side. So here we go. This is about as far as I've gotten with this. I am going to eventually tear this whole thing down, and I've got a couple of buddies with different Bridgeports. But I am going to have everything decked off. Nothing's been decked so far. It's just as built. One of my buddies that was going to help me with this. Anyway, we're in lockdown. We're not supposed to meet, and we are commanded to obey the governing authorities. So I will comply as far as I can. Anyway, so my lead screws on this are 3/4 inch steel, or 3/4 inch all thread. I made the handles. I made videos on this thing, but I think this may be about the first time that I've shown it all on camera. It does work. It works pretty good, better than I could possibly have imagined that it would work. I'm about as happy as I can be with the quality of machine that this is. No, this is not a 15 horsepower Bridgeport. No, you are not going to gear the head down and drill a 2-inch hole through brass or steel or whatever. I mean, that's not what this machine is for. This machine is for making parts that are this big. You know, very light duty work, very tedious small work. This does hold a fairly good tolerance. I mean, as far as what it is. I've been happy with it so far. This table here, I think I covered this in one of my videos. These are 1/4 inch bolt holes, 1/4 inch on center. everywhere that I could put one, and this is for my little clamps I showed earlier. The machine works, table works, everything works. I'm as happy as I could be with it. Like I said, I wouldn't want to, I mean, you're not going to deck a head off of a 427 on this thing. You're just not going to do it. But if you want to make a model steam engine or something like that, this is great. As long as it's not a big model steam engine. Okay. This is my 2 Auto Chinesium DRO. I've got a very strong notion that there's probably 2 factories or 1 factory in all of Red China that's making these $100 export DROs. And they are what they are. I mean, this is not something that I would trust if I was making, I don't know, parts for a rocket ship or something. I wouldn't trust it. But for what I do, it's fine. Now, you can see that my table does have some give in it. A little bit of backlash. That's mostly in my thrust washers up on my handles. I need to do a little bit of different stuff with that. But it does work, and I do not have any locks on my tables, or my X and Y yet. I do not have a Z-axis indicator hooked up. I don't know if I want to put a slide. I'll probably end up putting a slide and encoder on basically the knee. I don't know if it's even a knee, but put it on a slide and encoder on the column, and then just a dial indicator on the quill, because the quill's only got about 2 inches of travel. I think a dial indicator on the quill would be plenty, and then put my my slide and encoder up here on the column. But anyway, that's pretty much this machine. So there you go. That's pretty much my lathe milling machine part of the shop. It is what it is. I'm not going to do large production work. I'm not going to be turning crankshafts for a manned diesel engine out of a tugboat. But I can do what I need to do. So anyway, hope you enjoyed.
I'll drive safe, watch deer.
Yep, y'all drive safe, watch for deer.